Hi, how are you? Are you ready for the big night tonight? The night in which we'll get to know who will be the winner of Eurovision 2022? I know I'm not, but we're still going to talk about it anyway. I'm going to give you my thoughts slash predictions before the grand final tonight, but before that, I'm going to give you my thoughts after the semifinals. But here are some time codes in case you want to skip some stuff. Okay, hello. The first semifinal just finished. It's 18 minutes past 11 p.m. just to be precise. I gotta say, my heart was pounding so much because I was so scared for the Netherlands for a second, but when I saw that live performance of Estine, I was like, no, we are qualifying. Because I think they did indeed show that one clip of the rehearsals on purpose at that moment, because the whole rest of the performance was so intimate and just the way I hoped it would be. So I'm really content with the entry of the Netherlands. I got 7 out of the 10 qualifiers right. I'm so happy with that score. I am perfectly fine with that score. I said that Albania, Austria and Latvia would qualify. They didn't. Albania, I already immediately thought, oh no, I kind of did see that coming, and I think the performance wasn't really all there. I think something was off about her voice, unfortunately, because I really like her and her song, but the performance was not really there, I think. Just like Renate's vocals, unfortunately, because I really liked the song. I've listened to the studio version of the song a lot, and I already liked her song since the national final, so that's unfortunate. Austria, they also didn't qualify, unfortunately. I already had some doubts about Bea Maria's live vocals, and I guess it kind of is because of that they didn't qualify, unfortunately, because the studio version of the song is also really good. Latvia, I don't really understand. They had a really good song, and I really like that entry. It's so happy, it's catchy. I thought this would do really well. I also like the way the audience reacted to that first line. Qualifiers I'm really happy about are Iceland. Really happy about Iceland qualifying. I already said they were a possible qualifier, and I'm very happy that they did indeed qualify. Lithuania, I'm so happy Lithuania qualified. I'm so happy that she did. I love her so much. I also love the way that she was talking along with the auto cue while the hosts were talking.
A wonderful and glorious medley of beautiful voices, and that is what Eurovision means to me.
She is such an icon. I love her. Armenia's performance, I loved Armenia's performance. That was done so well. I'm so surprised Switzerland qualified. I gotta say, the performance was done really well. It was done by Sasha Jean-Baptiste, so of course it was done well. I didn't really take that into account in my reviews or my predictions, but I gotta say, the song seemed more as a whole during the live performance. I think the staging was definitely done really well. It wouldn't necessarily make me listen to the song more, but still, I do think the staging was done well. I was just so surprised that they qualified because I was so sure of them not qualifying at all. But you know, that's what Eurovision is all about, the surprises. And also Moldova qualified, the third time that Zdoub represented Moldova and also qualified to the grand final. I mean, good for them. They're definitely an entry that is going to do well with the televoters. I did say they're a possible qualifier, which, well, they were. And yeah, I gotta say, I have to get used to the revamp, but I'm happy for Moldova. Greece's staging, I loved Greece's staging. I think Greece has ended up really high in the semi-final. I love Amanda, she sang really well. Ukraine, also amazing performance, and like I think we all expected, they got the loudest applause, and that was totally deserved. I really like Ukraine this year. Okay, I'm back. You probably didn't know I was gone, but my roommate who knows I'm a big fan of Eurovision also just watched it somewhere else, wanted to know my opinion on some stuff. Anyway, Norway, I mean, it's fun that they're through to the grand final. I'm not so sure anymore if they're going to be a televote top 3, if I'm honest, but I still think they could do pretty well in the televote, not in the studio vote, I think. But, I mean, the performance was done pretty well, I guess. Armenia, I love the execution of that performance. I think it's done really well with the whole scenery and the camera work and the ripping off of the paper on the wall. It's done really well. And then the big reveal in the end, I really like it. Monica Liu, Lithuania, I knew we could. I always believed her. I predicted her to be a qualifier, and she did qualify, and deservedly so. Slovenia, I think it's the fact that the stage presence wasn't really there that made them not qualify, unfortunately, because I really like the song. I listened to the song itself quite a lot. It was still a fun performance in my opinion. Denmark, I really thought they had a chance at qualifying, and it probably did. I don't think they ended up that low in the end, but unfortunately they didn't qualify. And the same for Croatia. I also like the fact that Croatia had some Croatian in the lyrics all all of a sudden. I know Mia Dimsic has a Croatian version of Eurovision entry Guilty Pleasure, but now she also sang both in English and Croatian, which Albina, who represented Croatia last year, also did, and she was a non-qualifier, a borderline non-qualifier. Maybe it's the same for Croatia this year, we don't know. Bulgaria, yeah, I did expect them not to qualify. I'm still a bit surprised by Switzerland, but I really do think that it's the performance that made them go through. But Marius Bear didn't sound bad live, that's not the case. Also Portugal, I think the performance was done really well. It was so beautiful, the song's beautiful, it really translated to the big audience, obviously. So yeah, I also really like it. Overall I'm happy with the results of tonight. So yeah, these are my quick thoughts after the first semifinal. You know, the thing is, the second semifinal is coming up. Really excited for that, but I've got a party of my internship, the place that I'm on the internet, that I cannot really miss. So that's sad, because it will be maybe it'll be the first Eurovision that I cannot watch live. But I made an agreement with other people who I know are also a fan of Eurovision at the place that I'm on the internet to secretly watch it at that party. So hopefully we can see it live, and otherwise I have to avoid spoilers. I guess we'll see how that will work out. Anyway, I'm going to try to go sleep now. Let's be honest, before that I'm just going to rewatch the performances all the time. I'm going to stop talking now, and I'll talk to you after the second semifinal. Also, one last thought I wanted to say is that, of course, we could have seen the Netherlands being announced as the 10th qualifier coming, since it's literally in the name as 10. We could have known. We could have known. Anyway, that's all. I'll see you on Thursday probably, but for you it'll just be the same video. Okay, so I just got home from the party of the place that I'm on internet, and we didn't get a chance to watch it at the party. I'm going to watch the second semifinal now. I'm very proud of myself because I didn't see any spoilers of anything. So I've got the show here. This is an ad. This is the ad that comes before the show, but I'm going to watch the show now, and I guess I'll let you know afterwards what I think. Right now it's midnight, so that's okay. I think I need to wake up tomorrow at 10. This is not interesting to you, but yeah, I'll just let you. Oh god, I'll let you know what I think afterwards. Okay, it's 3 a.m. and I just finished watching the second semifinal, and I gotta say I have kind of mixed feelings about the results, but let's get into them. I got 7 out of 10 qualifiers right again, just like the last semifinal, so I guess I'm pretty happy with that, but I'm not completely happy because, okay, first of all, Cyprus, one of my most listened to songs this year, they didn't qualify, and I'm disappointed. I don't think they deserve that non-qualification, in my opinion. What I'm really happy about though is Serbia qualifying. I was so scared when that last qualifier was about to be announced that Serbia was not going to be qualifying, because I was sure that the production team behind Eurovision this year was like, okay, Achille Lauro is representing San Marino this year, he's a really big artist in Italy, so we're going to announce him as the last one. So I was like, okay, they're going to announce San Marino, but they didn't even announce San Marino. I was really surprised by that, but looking back at the performance, I do kind of get it. I was so sure of Achille Lauro giving San Marino their best result ever, but it's still Serhat with Sing Na 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 who gave San Marino their best result ever. Wow. Anyway, I was really happy that Serbia qualified and Serbia didn't get a Portugal 2019 moment. I'm really happy about that. Of course, Sweden qualified. We all expected that. Just like Australia, just like Czech Republic, just like Estonia. I think we all pretty much expected that. I'm sad Ireland didn't qualify because Ireland actually had a good staging this year. I also enjoyed the whole performance. I was smiling through that whole performance of Ireland, and I was so sure that they were finally qualifying again, but they didn't. I'm pretty sad for Ireland because they did really show that they know how to stage. I'm sorry about the dust, it's really annoying because they did really do that staging great, in my opinion. I really liked it. Also, Finland qualified. Yeah, I didn't really get the balloons at first, but then when the performance actually started, I did get it. It was a reference to it. I really like that. Romania qualified. I'm so happy Romania qualified. I'm really happy about that. I was surprised by Belgium qualifying, if I'm honest. I didn't really feel it that much during the live performance, and from what I understood, the jury show also didn't really go that well. Anyway, I'm happy for Belgium. of course. Same for Azerbaijan. I didn't really predict Azerbaijan to be a qualifier in my final prediction, but I did put them as a possible qualifier, obviously, because it's Azerbaijan. Just like I said in my review, Azerbaijan has only failed to qualify once, and of course they didn't plan on failing to qualify again, especially with such a big staging with those big stairs. Also, Poland qualified. I'm also happy for Poland. Looking back at what I said about those effects, I'm happy that they didn't use those effects that extremely through the whole performance. Like, they did kind of build it up, and in the end I do think it did look more like an actual concept instead of just throwing all kinds of effects on that performance, you know? And Ochman also sounded really good, of course. So I'm a bit disappointed by some countries not qualifying, like Cyprus and Ireland and San Marino, but I'm also happy that most of my favorites did qualify and that countries that do deserve it, obviously every artist deserves it, qualify to the grand final. I'm not disappointed by the countries that qualified, I'm just disappointed by countries that didn't qualify. You know what I mean? Anyway, it's 3 a.m. right now, and I really need to go to sleep, so I'm going to do that. I'll talk to you for my thoughts before the grand final and my final prediction for the winner, which I'm still not that sure about, if I'm honest, but I'll talk about that tomorrow when I'm more fresh. Also, I think in my prediction for the first semi-final, I said that I was going to get at least 1 out of the 10 qualifiers right, but it was supposed to be 3 out of 10 qualifiers because there were 17 participating countries. I am not good at mathematics. I'm gay. Anyway, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Okay, so now it's time to talk about the grand final tonight. Here are my thoughts. First of all, let's talk about the big 5. All of the performances have now been published, and I gotta say, there's not one bad one. I genuinely think this will be the first year since 2013 that we won't get a big 5 or host country to end up in the bottom 5, or at least last place. I don't think that'll happen this year. Okay, so let's start with France. France has a really good staging in my opinion. Alvan already has a good stage presence in my opinion. Ah has not really, but now they do. I really think they have improved in their stage presence, and the lights, like the staging is done well. The projections on the big sun are also really well done. I really like the vibe of the staging. I think France can score a top 10 results. Germany also has a really good staging as well, I think. They don't need any LEDs or projections or anything. They've just got the instruments as props during the performance, and I think it worked really well. I think Germany will end up on the left hand side of the scoreboard or maybe on the top of the right hand side of the scoreboard. Italy obviously knows how to approach Eurovision when it comes to the entries. I was a bit scared at first because the second rehearsal didn't seem to go that well for Blanco. I think that was mostly because he wasn't present during the first rehearsal because he was at his concert. But now that I've seen the performance during the jury show of the first semi-final, I definitely think that they'll score well. I think Italy will end up somewhere in the top 5. United Kingdom, talk about a glow up. United Kingdom has a really good staging this year, and I mean Sam Ryder, I've never heard him hit a bad note. He can sing. It's crazy to say, but the United Kingdom is in the second place of the betting odds. The United Kingdom. It's so crazy, and I really like this glow up of the United Kingdom. I also really like Sam Ryder's attitude towards everything Eurovision. I think the United Kingdom has gotten a great ambassador for Eurovision this year, and I think Sam Ryder can be really good for Eurovision's reputation in the United Kingdom, which I'm so happy about. I think the United Kingdom can score top 5, maybe even top 3. And now Spain. Spain will give one of the most iconic Eurovision performances this year, like one of the most iconic Eurovision performances ever. It's a more elevated version of their already amazing performance. Spain is literally a big contender for the victory this year, which is also crazy to say, but I'm happy that I can say it without lying. Guaranteed top 3 place. Okay, now the other contestants of the grand final. Australia has a big chance of being the jury vote winner, I think. So does Sweden, but Sweden also has a really big chance of doing well in the televote, I think. So Sweden can score top 5, maybe even top 3, I I think. I think they're also a pretty good contender for the victory. Ukraine is also still a big contender for the win this year. They'll get the biggest applause again, I'm sure of that, just like they got in the first semifinal. They're still a really big contender for the victory because they really stand out with their entry. Serbia's semifinal performance has grown the fastest in views to over 1 million views in the shortest amount of time out of all of this year's performances until now, which has to mean something. Also, remember that one story post of Camila Cabello with the most streamed songs at that moment, which was like a while ago, but still. Incorpore Sano was also in that post. So I think that Serbia can do really well in the televotes. Remember how I said that I was scared for Serbia for getting a Portugal 2019 scenario? It was either that or a televote top 5, I think, right now. So I think Serbia can score really well. I think a top 10 result is possible for Serbia. And I'm happy I can say that because Serbia is one of my favorites. I think Norway can also score pretty well in the televotes. I don't think a televote winner, but I think they can still score pretty well. I think Spain or Ukraine will be the televote winner. By the way, have you seen that one video of the astronaut of Subwoofer taking off his helmet and Tix, the Norwegian representative of last year, being inside of it? He allegedly is returned to Eurovision this year as the astronaut of Subwoofer. It can be a stunt, of course, because Tix said in his Instagram story, and the Oscar goes to, and during the Norwegian national final, he and Subwoofer were on stage at the same time, which doesn't necessarily have to mean something because they could have just put someone else in the suit for that moment. But still, I don't really know what to think, but who knows? I think it's a fun guessing game. I think Greece will also score pretty well. I think Greece will end up in the top 10 as well, which I'm happy about. And then I also think that the Netherlands, Portugal, and Armenia will end up in the top 10, which I think they all deserve. And then I also hope that Lithuania will end up in the top 10 because, God, I love Monica Liu so much. But now that means that I have to make my final prediction by just naming one country that I think is going to be the winner of Eurovision 2022, like I do every year. One thing I'm sure about is that the winning song of this year will start with the letter S, which means I'm mostly doubting in between Spain and Ukraine. I think they both are equally a big contender for the victory, and I'm so happy that I can say this for both of these countries. Maybe also Sweden is in there with the big contenders for the victory, but I think it's mostly between Spain and Ukraine. But I have to say one country, and the country that I'm going to say is going to win Eurovision 2022 is Ukraine. And remember, like I said before, this is not just because of the war going on in Ukraine right now. It's way more than that. Stefania was already a contender for the victory before the invasion of Russia. Sure, it will play a role, obviously, but I personally don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's beautiful that Europe and the world shows their support for Ukraine still and through this way. And then talking about the song Stefania, it's an original song, it's catchy, it's well performed and well thought through with a clear message and story behind it, which is told beautifully. And I swear to God, if Ukraine does indeed win this year, I will be really, really happy, and I better not see people being bitter about this. That would be the most privileged thing you can do and the most tone-deaf thing to do. Sure, if Ukraine wins over your favorites, you can be sad, I guess. But if you're seriously going to be angry about Ukraine, a country in which a war is being fought, winning this contest, you should go outside and touch some grass. I personally think it would only be beautiful if Ukraine wins. But then also, if Ukraine doesn't win, I think the fact that Ukraine was able to participate in this year's Eurovision Song Contest is already a victory on its own for Ukraine. It can already be seen as a win by itself, I think. So that was my prediction / my final thoughts before the grand final tonight. What do you think? Who do you think will win? Who do you want to win? What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comment section down below. I want to thank you so much for watching. I hope you will enjoy the show tonight, and hopefully until next time. Bye.